The most unconventional thing that I've done is, going down the path of drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
I went down that path thinking that, using drugs and alcohol made me more creative, especially cocaine. And I was like, oh, this is more of who I am. And, just very delusional thinking, being in that.
Because you went to a dark place there.
It was very dark, to the point where my father came to, I was with this guy. I was seeing this guy post-divorce. It was a rebound that ended way too long. A rebound.
Rebounds they should only be like 1 weekend.
It's
or something.
A weekend.
Like, why does it go?
Tell me why we were together for 4.5 years.
Oh, wow. That's a very long rebound.
This is how I knew that it was like, things had like kind of forever shifted in my family, but we've obviously made our way back after I got sober. But I basically put this guy up in a hotel because my dad wanted to visit me.
Oh my goodness.
So I said to my father, you come stay with me. And I told my guy at the time, I'm going to put you up in a hotel. And my dad came to visit me because I wanted some one-on-one time with my father. And my parents don't approve of me living with this guy.
Sure.
Right? Because I'm unmarried. I'm living with this guy, and they didn't like him. They thought he was a piece of work, right? Long story short, I had to bring him back because he was being unhealthy, whatever. And I thought it was my job to save him.
Sure.
My father said, if you're going to bring him back here, I'm leaving. My dad got on a plane the next day and he said, I'm done.
Oh, wow.
And then in that moment, I was like, I officially just picked this guy over my family. Like, it's very unconventional for me to have like put my selfish needs, put my addiction, put everything ahead of my own parents.
What do you think was going on for you at that time?
I felt to be honest, I was going to say it was fueled by drugs, but even deeper than that, I was very resentful towards my parents that when I got divorced, they cut me off emotionally. I didn't care about the money. I'm able to make money. I worked 5 jobs. I was an Uber driver, Lyft driver, vegan chef, substitute teacher, and I did paid acting extra work. I was able to pay my bills and fund my cocaine habit and take care of this guy that I was living with. They cut me off emotionally. They took my ex-husband's side. They continued to talk to him. They continued to give him money. They didn't give me a dime, which I don't think I'm entitled to any of their money, but they were supporting him. They helped him buy a restaurant in Austin. And me, I was just on my own trying to figure it out. So I was like, oh, you abandoned me after I got divorced. And it kind of brought up all the things that I've always felt as a kid. It's like, oh, you don't see me.
The triggers of abandonment.
You don't see me. I'm invisible. Like, you picked my ex-husband over me, so they were, they felt so bad for him.
Right. They felt bad for him because you were the female.
Yes. And I left. Oh, right. God forbid I leave a situation. And they blamed it on me because I had the emotional affair, but no one took the time to actually be like, why would Vasavi do that?
Right.
What would drive the most loyal person in the world to go ahead and say, peace out? I'm going to go.
I can't take this anymore.
I can't take it.
I have to get filled emotionally somewhere else.
I'm not agreeing with my behavior, but at the time, that's what I knew what to do. That's how I dealt with it.
So I love this vulnerability and I love this share so much because I think that, in separation or, especially for brown families, immigrant families, where everything we talk about is like marriages, weddings, and having this like big, beautiful day. Obviously, I had that big, fat, crazy Indian wedding as well. And 16 months later, I got a divorce. Yeah. Mine was a little bit more on the dramatic side. Yeah. But I mean, I think that, there for those of you who are going through the walk of sharing that you are either not happy in a relationship, in a marriage, and trying to be brave at sharing your deepest feelings with those who are so supposed to be like supporting you. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden they're going to abandon you because they don't agree with how you're unraveling, unruffling. That must have felt so lonely.
It was lonely for me. I wanted to share this acronym that my mentor actually shared with me. He said, family, the acronym for family is fucked up and mainly interested in limiting you.
Ooh.
And that really hit. And I'm not here poo-pooing on families. I don't sit here blame mom and dad, but I will speak it like it is. I will share the experience of what it felt like for me. And it felt I was abandoned. I was blamed. I was just kind of left to fend for myself. And I've said this to my parents. You wonder why I opted to just have this guy live with me because I was so lonely because my own parents weren't there. But I think being alone and having to do life alone, which was by choice a lot of the times because I was like, you don't get me, has really helped me be the person that I'm becoming, right? Is that person who will get on stage and do stand-up comedy and talk about things and say, you know, and the person on camera who will just say the stuff and be like, wow, she's just so unapologetic. It's because I think when you've spent enough time hating yourself and being alone, hating yourself, being alone, picking yourself back up, and then really learning to count on yourself, you really don't, it does not affect me anymore what anyone thinks, because it's like I've seen myself through all of this.
And you've seen yourself go through some really dark days where all you had is yourself.
All I had was myself. All I had was myself. And you know, it's funny, even as I say this, there's a little bit of guilt that's coming up for me. It's like, oh, ungrateful Indian. I'm so ungrateful towards my parents.
So some people listening to this right now is like, oh,
yeah,
ungrateful bitch.
Yeah, I know. I hear that voice too. I was called ungrateful my whole life. It's like, oh, you're so ungrateful to your parents. But I think that's
really though, is that it? I mean, because I think there's the ebb and the flow and the full spectrum of our emotional capacity, and what you needed at the time, you weren't being met.